It helps if you actually unmute your microphone. Sometimes that works out. So, hey, good morning, Matt. Yeah, good morning. Welcome to Mid Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium. Thank you so much for being here on this Saturday morning, July 24th, 2021. Oh, it's so cool. It's great. It's great. It's great. Yes, actually, I was not prepared. I completely forgot about one thing. That's okay. That happens. That happens. So hopefully everybody's doing well. It's been a crazy kind of week. Say hello, Nicole. Hello, Dad. So yeah, things are good. Okay, now I got a couple of my cheat notes sitting over here on the other screen, so that's good. Good morning, Sharon. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, so it's been an interesting week. So some of you, if you saw my post earlier in the week, Monday, Tuesday time frame, I think it was. If you guys are were paying attention or checking it out, I was kind of curious because even then it was definitely a topic that was going to be easy for me to bring up this, today. But I am going to go out of order just for a moment because I know this won't take long. I did mention so last weekend there was before everything else. Hey, Jeff, how you doing there? And Jeff, I almost didn't catch that, Jeff. I almost didn't catch that. So thank you, sir. Hey, Rodney, what's up and what's happening? So I wanted to bring something up, and I mentioned it last Saturday because it was I wasn't, like I said, it's kind of one of those that it's a big deal, but it wasn't a big deal, and it was kind of one of these strange things, but it was hard because there was some stuff that I wanted to have happen first before. Oh, good morning, Tina and Dana. Hello. I really wanted to, make sure some things were kind of out, and then I was kind of wanting to make sure that things were okay. Not that it would have changed a whole lot, but you never know. I mean, because it was interesting. But couple weekends ago, my wife and daughter were at a Girl Scout camp out, and it was their troop, the girls that could make it, and so they pretty much had the camp to themselves because with the pandemic and everything, things have been kind of shut down, and obviously the trying to get over the thing, the whole COVID thing and stuff, and so they had a great time. Everything was great, and they doing their thing like they always do, crafts and activities and things and stuff like that. And these are all 13-year-olds, so just to give you an idea of age and stuff. But it was about that Thursday afterwards that I get a text from my wife, and one of the activities they did was archery, which everybody that was there had a great time. Everybody got to shoot some arrows and things like that, but they can't do that activity. Good morning, Jill. You can't do that activity without somebody that understands the equipment and things, and that can make sure that nobody's going to get hurt and things. And so they had somebody come out and show the ropes and have them help out and things like that. And but my wife texted me that Thursday afterwards, and she basically said, hey, the lady that was teaching archery came down with some COVID symptoms, and she took a rapid test and it came back positive. So you can imagine that the panic and fear ensued. And I was, at the same point, because I was at work at that point and been working all week. And, good morning, Margaret. And, all week, none of the girls, the adults, my wife is one of the leaders and the other main leader, no symptoms. And we're like, okay, we've never been what we know of this close to being, about it though. Hey, Karen. And so it was interesting that for us to, hey, good morning, Kathleen. It was interesting to, finally, in a way, like, okay, what do we do? And so Um, so my wife and daughter were going to go get a test done, and they were going to get the, the true official test and stuff. And so, they couldn't schedule it until the evening. And so, you know, luckily for me, I'm already kind of isolated at work. So I'm never around too many people at one point because, a lot of the buildings are still closed. And even the ones that are opened, there's not like a whole lot of people, filling in the building. So it was like, okay. And we were, so I felt okay that, like if by chance, I had it, I didn't feel like I was going to be, threatening anybody else with it. And so we, came home, wife and daughter went and got their test, and you know, fortunately they did the real test, so it takes a couple days. And I didn't know what to do. So I remember, um, calling up and, kind of discussing it with my manager and, like I said, none of the people in the troop, were having any issues and stuff. And I should remind you, and well, I'm going to leave some details out. So you guys might have questions, but there's some details I'm going to leave out because I'm not going to get in any kind of controversy, and I don't want you guys, writing comments and things like that. So I'm not going to give you a lot of details on this because I'm not here for, starting up things, and it is what it is. But there's a lot of information that, if you did hear it, and again, I'm just trying to avoid that. That's not what this is all about. Main thing is what I'm showing you is like when I'm dealing with stress and how you, again, been doing this for weeks and just how you handle it. And that's why I'm kind of mentioning most of it. So that way you just understand that you can do the same thing, whatever situations you're dealt with. But so they went and got it. And then obviously, we were, hopeful. Well, my manager's just like, well, I'll let you stay home on Friday, but you got to go get a quick test. I'm like, okay, fine. So I stayed home, worked from home, scheduled a quick test in the morning, went and got it done, which was cool because if any of you have had them done now, like you get to do them yourself. You don't have to worry about somebody else, jabbing the swab up your nose. So I got to do it and it was quick. So it was like, well, that's not so bad. You get to control the tickles, which is all it really was for me, because you don't have to shove it down into your throat, just getting it up about an inch, and then you just kind of wiggle it around and for a few seconds, and then do the same on the other side, and then you put it back and they deal with it. So I drive. It's funny. I spent more time driving to the drive-through location than I did the actual test, which I thought was hilarious because I'm thinking this is going to be, long and stuff like that. And so I'm like, oh, and fine. So I get home, and it was after I got home, it was probably maybe 30-45 minutes later that I see the email pop up and it says, hey, we got your results. I'm like, okay, well, I just got done talking to my wife about, everything that happened and stuff. And they were just kind of like playing out some, game scenarios and things. And so that's when I sat down, just saw the email. And then I'm just like, oh, I open it up, and I mean, the biggest, brightest words you could possibly see, negative. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a good start. I feel a little bit better, and granted, the quick test, you know what I mean? But, I was just like, well, at least it's something. We kind of have an idea, and, so I, immediately told, I immediately told, text my manager and stuff like, I'm like, hey, good news, they already got my quick test back, I'm negative. And I said, hey, we'll, he goes, okay, cool. Well, he goes, well, I said, obviously we want to know what the real tests are for my wife and daughter. That'll tell the tale, And so we said, well, obviously it's Friday. So I said, well, let's see what the weekend brings. Go into the weekend. And it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was either Friday night or Saturday night. No, Saturday night. Saturday night is about 10:30, 11 o'clock. My daughter checks her email, before going to bed, and she gets her results back, which is weird because my wife went first, but for some reason my daughter got her stuff back. So she opens it up and she immediately says, it's negative. I'm negative. And I'm like, okay, so this is now this is great. I'm feeling a lot more confident because still up to this point, up to that weekend, nobody was hearing anything. Nobody was experiencing anything. None of the people in the troop, none of the girls, anybody is still completely fine. And then Sunday morning at 6:45, my granted she didn't see it at that point, but the email comes in for her results at 6:45 a.m. and she's negative. So now we're like, oh, that is, way cool. I mean, and it's a relief and the but scary, you know what I mean? And you know, the thing we kept doing was we were just going to keep, pushing through it. We were going to keep that positive attitude up. We were just going to keep ourselves in the best form of light that we can and know that we're good. And and my wife was already saying, she goes, we're good. We were outside, we were distancing, and we've obviously that had to have worked at some point, you know what I mean, is being able to not be right on top of this lady. And you know it and so I think that's obviously a good tip. I mean, we hear it, and then obviously be that close to somebody that was. Now, we never truly found out anything further because she was supposed the lady, the teacher, was supposed to get an official result, which I never heard back, and maybe it just never made it. I just didn't find out about it. But it was kind of weird, and like I said, the situation was crazy, in some way. But it it is what it is. And so I mean, if anybody's been that close to it, and pulled through, I mean, it's all you can do. You just gotta, as much as nobody wants to have it, or if you had it, you obviously know that it, you either had it real mild or you had it bad. And so I mean, but we pulled through still to this day. I mean, granted, yeah um yeah, I think we're way in the clear now. So I mean, we're several weeks past the expectancy of it, and so we're all doing great. All the girls are great, and so it's nice to that we were we were good. So you gotta you gotta think a lot of things, and it was weird because it's crazy how just like a common cold, you don't want it, and you never know who has it, and they might not show symptoms, and then next thing they got it, and then you were around them. And so it's obviously in the same kind of situation. You just don't know who has it or who's carrying it that might not be showing it, and then boom, and so, but that's the thing, is that's what I said last weekend. It was kind of on my mind, and it was like, man, I'm just kind of rolling through these things, but I think it's the main point is just to show you guys that, no matter how much things stack up and you just feel like you might have a, not that I felt I had a black cloud. I mean, it was just like bad timing, but it's just those things that we have to kind of keep our heads focused. We have to keep positive, even if something, became positive, you still got to push through it, okay, it sucks. Now we move on, you know what I mean? And so that's the main thing, is we gotta keep pushing through it. And no matter, if you get to avoid whatever it is or resolve something, you just keep moving forward. And at the end of it, you're you're back to where you should be again. So definitely, and I haven't been reading comments, so I'm sorry about that, but I just saw Nicole's, thanks to the angels, guides, and ancestors. Absolutely, you know what I mean? And that's just the thing. You gotta use your head. You gotta thank them all, whether you're into that kind of thing or not, but you gotta focus on that. And everybody's around you. They're going to support you. They're going to help heal you. And like I said, I didn't want to bring up that information until I knew what the results were, because I think, to me, it's better than kind of living on pins and needles and things. And so that's why I didn't want to say anything, because I knew the results were coming. I just didn't know what they were going to be. And I'd rather just be like, boom, okay, now we know. But and then I wasn't going to say anything because I thought it would be kind of better to do it live and things. So once again, you guys just keep moving through it, no matter how bad it might seem. Okay. So with all that going into everything, there, like I said, if you guys saw my post earlier in the week, you saw that, I was dealing with some other things, and this was something completely different symptoms that have no relation to, COVID and things. But it was really odd, was that I didn't understand, what they were and why they were there. And I kept thinking it was me. Maybe I had like, some other health things going on, and because it's even during like the whole, like wondering, if we got COVID and things, you know, these symptoms were around, but not as intense. And it wasn't until last weekend they started to pick up. They started to get a little bit more intense. You know, I wasn't as active as I'd like to have been, but I was okay. But it was just really crazy. And so that's why when I ended up posting about it, I wanted to I just something told me, probably one of my guys was being like, you know what, you should probably throw it out there and see if others are going through something similar or they're the same, and or even some variations of symptoms and things. And so that's why I threw that post out there, was that, I'm kind of going through this. I'm just curious, are you guys going through the same thing? And it was, being tired, which, is a lot of us are, I mean, I blamed it on just the fact that I wake up so early, but, it was just the other feelings and feeling out of it and just kind of like, not with it and things. Um, and even then, like some people talked about dizziness and stuff, and it's weird. And so then to start seeing all of your comments come back in, especially privately or in the, the post itself, I was like, okay, something's going on, because we're all going through the same thing. What's happening? You know what I mean? And you start to put it together like, an investigator does. You start lining it up and being like, what are we dealing with? And, a couple of people, were given theories. And then one of them was the full moon, which was yesterday or last night. And, we all know that full moons, it's a whole climax of things. This is the pinnacle of, of a cycle, you know what I mean? 30 days. And so I'm thinking, okay, what's this moon mean? Because, there really wasn't anything out there, and I didn't do a lot of hardcore researching on it, but there really wasn't anything spectacular. I mean, we, had, that one super blood moon thing, eclipse that was, the other couple months ago. And I mean, that's got some intensity to it, but it's the whole weirdness of it all, that we had all these things going on, and what did it relate to? And and I know there was a solar flare, because my friend Jen, who usually is watching, but she's getting ready for a client coming up here shortly, because we talked about it briefly last weekend. The Schumann resonance, where it kind of shows the energy and the flares and how tense they can be and how they affect equipment and us and things. And so because I'm going to have her on, and we'll dive into that, because that'll probably like make you guys be like, whoa, maybe I understand when all of a sudden out of nowhere I feel like this. And so, but she showed that there were some little flares that were happening. I was like, okay, oh well, there's Jen, she's still here. Oh, thanks, Jen. She's just quietly in the background, she's still preparing for her 10. But that was the thing. She showed there was a flare, and could be part of it, or in things, but that's so the main thing I want to get to, because I think this is my theory, and I actually was messaging Jen this morning, and we sort of agreed together that as soon as I mentioned it, and a lot of you talked about it in that post and privately, the next day I felt like a a ton better. I mean, after the past like week and a half, almost 2 weeks of just feeling terrible in a lot of different aspects and in waves and stuff, but just feeling the same thing over and over again. It was weird that as soon as I said something, we all talked about it. We all came together. I know I'm sure not everybody saw it, but if you haven't, go back, look at those posts in the beginning of the week, and kind of remember what you were at, what you were going through. If you didn't, that's okay too. Good. But if you did experience little things, this, is something interesting. But the very next day, which I can't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday, then I posted it, but I think it might've been Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning or whatever it was. But then I just felt so much better. And it just dawned on me even then. I'm like, well, how did that work out? How do you go from feeling bad, feeling rough and stuff for a long time, and the next thing you know, you're like night and day. Like I literally woke up and I felt like, I mean, granted, I was still tired, but that's the work thing. But all the other symptoms and things were gone, and I'm like, wow. And so it made me think, and Jen agreed. It was something that we, as a collective, as us, as a energy, we came together And it was the point of sharing something that we all were going through, but knowing that we you're right, Matt. This week was a struggle. Hashtag. um, but it was now, and like I said, there was other people that were in the same boat. They weren't all of a sudden weren't starting to experience things. Doesn't mean that there still wasn't people, but I'm saying is it started to lift. There was a lot of people that started finally feeling better as the week progressed to where we are now. And it was interesting to see that happen to where those other things that I was really dragging about that felt better. And then hearing other people going, yeah, I'm doing a lot better too. And I'm like, you know, and so that's what makes me think there's obviously higher things going on. There's things that we might not fully understand. Maybe some do, but there's something about it that we all came together. We didn't let all the things that that are in the news, put it that way, excuse me, that we just came together as an energy, a life force, and we bonded. You know what I mean? If that makes sense to all of you, we bonded for a moment to where it all made sense in a way, even though we didn't know it, but it made sense that we came together and things started to change. We recognized it as a group, a collective, and we moved on. We moved on together, and we all have higher vibrations. We have energies and things, and so and say, Dad, that's fine. Like I said, some people know it, some don't. Now, a lot of us that do a lot of the metaphysical, the spiritual, holistic things, we really are more open to it. So when it happens, we really get affected by it. I mean, like I said, and some get affected and they just don't realize it. They don't understand it because they just think it's I'm just not feeling great today, whatever. It's just one of those days. Sometimes it is a bigger thing to it, but it was so neat to finally see that. Now, granted, like I said, everybody didn't always experience something the same, but that's what's neat about it is a lot did, and granted, I'm sure there was, hundreds, if not thousands more that had experiences that, probably could have shared it or even if they didn't know it, would have shared it. And so it would have been neat to see this on a large level, to see how much we would have all came together then and seen what else we could have done. You know what I mean? And, granted, like I think Nicole just said a little bit ago, always good to just talk about it. That's awesome. I mean, to be able to just share it, and again, all that moment where our energies came together just in one night, one post, a couple posts, and to see us all like just feel it and go through it, and then like, okay, we're all going through it now. Now it's no big deal. You know what I mean? We all, it makes sense, not that we're doctors or anything like that. Like we're not prescribing, medications and things, but just the idea of coming together to talk about something in just a few words, and then our subconscious, relaxes and then just says they get it. They understand what we're trying to get their attentions and get us to come together. So the more I talk about it and the more I think about it, even now live, it just keeps like evolving. I keep thinking all these big, grander things and stuff. And so it's really neat. And like I said, I'm probably going to continue to think about it for the rest of the weekend, but it's really neat, Okay. All right. So yeah, like I said, so some are still going through it. I see Margaret saying she still had it for a few more days and then now it seems to even out. Yeah. And because we're all, we're all at different levels. We're never all going to be the same. But it's just, like I said, a couple times, it's neat that just addressing it, understanding it, and then watching how then it tapers off basically right after that point, So, and even then we all experience things at different times and stuff. I mean, that's how that is. That's why we are. Hey, good morning, Chris. So, and Dana, calm down for you the next day too. So yeah, like I said, it's just so fascinating, but it's neat. So from now on, if I'm pretty sure that if I'm experiencing something, I'm going to try to post about it and just sort of see what's going on to see if there's something that's, worldly in a way, I guess we could say that, or in the universe, and see if we can figure it out together. See if it's just the point of us coming together, in like I said, in a post to where we can just talk about it and share what we're going through, and just know that all our energies are working together. We're all communicating subconsciously that we don't even realize it, and we can all like get through these things. And whether it was just more of a kind of a wake up call, a heads up, because obviously, we did sort of think it was maybe part of the full moon, and some, things were happening. We just didn't know what the full moon meant, or, maybe there was something else going on. Like I said, I started to believe that maybe it had more to do with us coming together. But, like I said, you know, let's see, Valerie. I've always noticed that when the sun is at Cancer, people are over emotional and tempers flare. Now that the sun is in Leo, it's all good. Oh, that's great. See, I love when I have people like Valerie and my friend Jen that they're into the astrological things, and they look it up, because like I said, I'm terrible with it. I just can't. There's just too many things on my plate, so I can't. I have to rely on people like Valerie and Jen to kind of help me out with that and be like, what's going on? So what are the stars saying today? And that's another great point. It's just, the sun is in Cancer. You know, it's- and again, it all kind of blends together in some way, and that's why it's always neat, because it seems like that's sort of the gist of things. But it's like immediately now, like this year, whenever something's I feel weird or something's going on, I'm trying to hit people up, being like, okay, what's happening? What don't I know that I need to know and understand? So, other Jen. And to know that such an experience are part of the process of ascension via energetic upgrades from the sun, earth, and galaxy. Yep. Yep. Nicole, collective consciousness is powerful. Yep. Yeah. So uh it's amazing. And that's what I start to become like a kid in a candy store, when you get to hear people like Jen and Valerie and Nicole, and just sharing bits of things that they know and have heard or learned and studied, and you throw it in there, and it's just like, oh my gosh, yes, because I get excited to hear these things, and know that there's always these bigger things, and that's what makes it great too, is we're all from all these different levels of what our souls are capable of, and what they know, and we don't consciously know, but what subconsciously we know, and then all the things that we can do to help each other out. And so we don't want to look at the physical and deal with the physical, but we need to really get inside, and it's the cool thing about it, is just hearing these things. That's why I get excited when I get some information and like this, and it's like, oh, and to me, I feel better. I already can feel it, in my soul, that it's like making sense. And uh not everybody's going to be that way, but I said, for those of us that do a lot more of the this type of work and stuff, to try to understand it, so that way we can help others out. I mean, that's the thing. We're all coming together, we're all sharing it, and we're all going through it, so really, really cool. You know what I mean? And hopefully we'll give me in the down low for a little bit, that we'll get out of this weekend, and moving forward, hopefully we'll start to take a little bit of a break. I think we could all use a little bit of a break from all the stars doing their thing. Give our souls a little bit of a breather. Not that you can't go out, and you guys know it, you hear it all the time, not that you can't go outside. This morning when I woke up, it was a little bit of a light rain. I went outside. I was like, immediately, I mean, it was like 6:30. I went outside, did my prayers, had the rain cleanse me, because I was already out there dealing, having it rain on me. I'm like, let's do this, let's get this weekend going. Hence why I'm also, feeling really good. The energy is great. I got a lot of sleep last night. Even I started waking up a little early, but forced myself to get back to sleep a couple of times. So I got a lot of sleep compared to what I do the previous nights, which is tough, real tough for me. And that's been a big struggle, is the have to still do the day job, and I'm not getting sleep, and it's bad, because I have an hour and 10-minute drive. And so it's just, it's painful. So, which is why there's a lot of things going on. And that's why, like last weekend, I talked about, I can't do anything really during the week anymore. It's just too much for me. And it's sad, but I got to look out for myself. I got to take care of myself. And most of you know that. Most of you understand it, because it's you try to fit in as much as you can, your heart is into it, but your physical body isn't. And so you do have to listen to your physical body, as much as you want to do things and help. And it's just not always in me to do it. So yeah, during the week I'm going to try to really take care of myself, and I'm been going to bed earlier during the work week, which some days has helped, but this is the first week I've tried it. And another week I'll be kind of curious if it starts to get a little bit easier for me. And we'll go from there, and hopefully, maybe if things change, work changes or something like that, I can kind of get back. I mean, obviously once in a while, I'll still try to pop up and during the week or do something, or whether it's holding a show, or being a guest on a show and stuff like that. I'm gonna do whatever I can to try to not be completely silent during the week, which is why I want to make sure that I'm posting at least, so that way it kind of breaks up and stuff. So but yeah, we'll see how that goes and stuff. But I did want to shift, and hopefully guys will stick around for it. And it was very cool was last night. Uh, I got family in, that's in for another good full week. In fact, they leave a week from today. I got family that I haven't seen them in 2 years because obviously the pandemic and stuff. And so they're from Houston. And so it's been great to see them and stuff. And so yesterday, my nephew, my sister-in-law's son, the youngest, turned 16. And so happy birthday to him. And not that he already doesn't know that, but he's not watching my show, but uh, he really, he's into Italian food and stuff like that. And so he, was really curious. So the weekend before we were talking about, when they came, and, like, what kind of things do we want to do for your birthday or something like that. And so, we mentioned a few places, and then obviously one for those of us that are local to Toledo, when I say this, you're going to clearly know what I'm talking about. So those that don't have never heard of it, it's okay. But there's a place in downtown Toledo called the Spaghetti Warehouse, and it has been around a long, long time. And I never used to go to it because it was just, getting downtown and trying to find parking and stuff like that. So growing up, we just never really went to it. And then, we finally would try to get there early and things. So, so you get down there, once in a while, but, I can't even say I get down there even once a year to go and eat there, but it is what it is. But, it's really cool inside. I mean, it's a really old building, and they even have a trolley car that's actually mounted there that you can sit inside the trolley car and eat your meals. And a lot of cool artwork and photos and things like that. And so, yeah, like my dad's saying, good food in there. Lasagna is really, really big. Yes, the lasagna. For those of you that love lasagna, the biggest one is 15 layers, just to give you an idea. So, but we did. So anyway, that was the whole thing. We went to Spaghetti Warehouse last night. We made reservations and got there, early, which was cool because we made them for 5:30. So the dinner rush wasn't so bad. So it was really, really cool. All right, hey, Matt, do you ever can make it, dude? It's definitely worth it. And I'll get into the food just a touch, what I ate. But anyway, so we got there, had a great time. And so, one thing that stuck out in my head. Yeah, pretty much, Margaret. It pretty much was the case. And I remembered, because if Dana's still watching, the team that she belongs to is a local team here. And they actually recently, a couple months ago, got to investigate the Spaghetti Warehouse because has some activity. And so I already knew that going in a little bit. And I was just like, we'll see what's going on. Okay, Dana's still watching, so she might jump in and share a few things. But we so I'm sitting there, and I was sitting just on the ones just outside the trolley car, and typical. Okay, like I'm there for family, I'm there for my nephew, that sort of thing, and so I try not to do anything, when I know the place might have something going on, but that's kind of like a thing, you're like, I want to, but I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to, but it was too hard because, I just was too interested to see, if I could get anything. And so I let the empathic side start, where it's just giving me, some energy readings and stuff. I'm like, what's going on? Do I feel like there's something around? And sure enough, I started feeling it. And it was funny because I hit Dana's fiance, Jeff, another good friend of mine. And I hit Jeff up. I'm like, Jeff, I'm inside. And I can't remember the wording. I'm not going to read it all, but I just like, hey, I'm inside, and I said, I'm definitely picking up on some things. And it was, so, it ended up being Dana writing me back, which, we were joking about that too. But I was just saying, yeah, because I've said the trolley car's behind me where I'm sitting. I said, there's definitely something going on in there. And so I kind of put the phone down for a little bit. And then it's weird too, because, I kind of, if anybody that's ever investigated with me knows that I'll start to kind of like, my gaze will look off to the side. And so luckily I was down at one end of the table because I would have felt bad if I was in the middle where all the other like, people, the adults and in-laws and stuff were, because I'm sure they're gonna be like, what is wrong with him? And so I'm kind of looking off to the side of the table on the floor and just letting the energy hit me. And I start picking up on a male figure and stuff. And so I start looking at him. I start describing what it looks like. And then I'm hitting Jeff up, which Dana's reading, was reading it and replying. So I describe what this guy's looking like and kind of like what his demeanor was and what he was doing at that point. And so Dana, through Jeff writes back, like, yeah, that's actually one of the claims. There is somebody that does that. He kind of hangs out. He likes to watch people. And I'm like, really? Because I'm like, like I said, I knew the place was haunted, but I didn't really like dive into the specifics and things, I try not to. I mean, sometimes you get the information because of people talking about it and things, but even like when Dana and the team Togs was there, I didn't see all their stuff. Like, I saw their first intro video of like where they're just saying, hey, we're going to be here tonight. The food was great. But I didn't listen or watch anything else because I just didn't want to know, because I knew I'd get there at some point. And I just thought, well, the less I know, the better off I'll be. And so I described all that, and they're like, Dana was, saying, hey, if you could find some more information about him and stuff like that. And Dana, by the way, he refused flat out, even with a smile on his face, refused to tell me his name. I'm like, okay. So, but I did say kind of where he kept showing like where he possibly lived. So I did mention that to her. But and then the place started getting busier, and then the male spirit just kind of ran off, and was starting to watch other people. So it was like, okay, so, and that was perfect because appetizer, or not appetizers, but our salads were coming, and then obviously our main food and stuff. But then Dana mentioned too, she's like, and even Jeff feels like, hey, if you can get downstairs, see if you pick up anything down there. So I said, okay, well, I said, we're literally about to eat. And so I said, maybe at the end we will. So sure enough, we get done, and my wife thought it was a good idea to have me take my son to just use the restrooms down there, which was perfect because that's where I was supposed to go anyway. So we go down and, get my son all situated, and didn't notice anything in the bathroom itself, but came back out, and we were kind of in this like little nook of where these video games and kind of things are. It's not a lot of them, but there's a few, and you're kind of standing there. And of course I start feeling something, and I'm like, oh, there's something kind of heavy right here. And I was standing next to a specific arcade game. And Jeff at this point takes it, wherever they were, I know they were going to a theater thing, and writes, yeah, Harold and him saw, a shadow, a male figure go from that arcade machine, which was a Pac-Man one, and then go up the stairs back to the main level. And I went, and immediately before I even responded, all I did was turn my phone on, put it in selfie mode, hold it up, and take a photo of myself, because literally right where I was standing was the Pac-Man machine. I didn't even move. It was just, he's like, yeah, right there. And it went up the stairs. I was standing right in the exact same spot. Like, how funny is that? So I was right where I needed to be. And granted, I did not get to pick them out because, there was, all the nephews and nieces and my kids were there. So it was just kind of a little chaotic, but I was, I couldn't get in and really do check anymore. But it was still kind of fun to, and then there were some other people coming down to use the restrooms and things, but it was really, really cool. So, oh, Dana, see, Butch and I saw the shadow figure standing against the wall and pushed off and then went up the stairs. Yeah. So right where I was, let me see real quick. Yeah, just see. That was when I turned around. You can kind of see the not with the glare, but yeah, the glare is going to kill it. But there was the Miss Pac-Man thing, and then there's let's see if it'll blow up that way. So there's the arcade machine, and then that was like a little phone booth over here, and then the bathrooms go down. You kind of walk back, and then behind where the stuff is, where the hallway is for the bathrooms. But and then yeah, there's the little nook of where it goes into another eating area, but that's closed. But then the bathrooms are right around to the right, and then the stairs leading back up to the main level. But what really caught my eye, because I thought it was kind of cool, was that sign that you see there right where the rail is. Well, I guess I can do it that way. Sorry, I'm trying to do this reverse. So I thought that was kind of cool. I really wanted a selfie with it, but the problem is I couldn't, I can get it all in there, and I wasn't going to have anybody take a photo of me. But I did do this though. Gave it a thumbs up. So I thought that was cool. It was such a sweet, sweet sign. I couldn't help myself. At least it was fun. Um, let's see, Dana, done there with energy. We had much contamination. Yeah. Yeah. And contamination's the worst. Yep. Yeah, Margaret. But yeah, it was really cool. And like I said, I mean, even though I didn't really get to dive into, anything, big time. But at least I got a little bit, I got a taste of it. And so hopefully, maybe there'll be some opportunities down the road that we'll be able to get back in there, get to check around a little bit and things. That'd be kind of cool. Hopefully, but you never know. We'll see what happens. We'll see. And, but yeah, it was fun. I think I'd love to go back and talk to um, basically that male figure that was over by the trolley car and hanging out. I'd love to, be able to do that. So, maybe I'll just have to go back and eat there again, when it's not as busy, or at least when it gets busy. But well, I mean, see, Margaret, it's kind of one of those things. I mean, it's not really like a thing, right? It's Dana, yeah. So, I mean, it would be cool, but that's the thing is like, obviously, I know. Well, that's the thing. I'm not going to get into, I know there's other details and things about the spaghetti warehouse and things that I'm just not going to go there. I mean, it's not that it's a bad thing, it's just that there's other things that go on. So obviously I would love to go back there, and there's certain details that would need to happen, but that's okay. But anyway, it would be kind of cool. I mean, it would be great to be able to get there, and it'd be great if it could just be something like that, simplistic or something. But like I said, there's details that are not, I don't know, it's kind of weird. But yeah, right. And Dana saying there was another floor. Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, obviously, I could only go downstairs, to the bathrooms and stuff, and then the main floor and stuff. But yeah, I heard about the upstairs floor would be fun too. Anyway, but yeah. So I mean, but it was really cool. And then to kind of finish up with the whole food situation, as I spilled coffee everywhere. The food was excellent. I mean, a lot of people got some similar things and stuff like that. Oh, Jill, it's actually in Toledo. It's in Toledo. It's been around for a super long time. It's the Spaghetti Warehouse in Toledo. I mean, I don't remember how long it's been around. I just know it's been a long time. I mean, when you go in there, you can see how old things are. The floors, are still wood and stuff. I mean, definitely worn. And like I said, it's really, really, I mean, it's a really cool place. I mean, it is neat. And even for me, I didn't mention this earlier, that the fact is that this was the second time in total that I've gone to a restaurant since the pandemic happened. I went once last year, and then this was the second time. get takeout if we're going to do anything like that, but it just haven't, never felt comfortable enough to go and sit, even where we're at today. Still just, was feeling a little weird about things, but that's just me personally. That has nothing to do with anything else. But so it was kind of cool. I was excited just to go there because it was such the history of it. And like I said, it's a really neat place. It's really cool to go in there, and the food is great. That's why I was going to, at least get to the, for a minute on the food is fantastic. I kind of got this one that's this Turin of the Turin Trio, which was one piece of chicken. So it was a chicken parmesan, fettuccine alfredo, and then a small piece of the 15-layer lasagna. And fantastic. I mean, the flavoring was great. I mean, so if you really like that, you like a lot of flavor with your sauces and things like that, it was excellent. I didn't, just I had a common salad. I did not partake in the rolls because I really was more set on eating the food. I didn't want to stuff myself, and it was funny because pretty much everybody else was eating the bread and the great butter and stuff like that. I didn't. I was like specific. I was like, I'm not doing it. And sure enough, everybody, pretty much almost everybody didn't finish their food. So I'm like, whoo. So I got through, all of mine barely, but I got through all of mine. But I was just kind of excited that I saved enough room so I could finish my meal. No, but everybody else had take home plates. So, yep. Yeah, Dad, like I just said, I mean, it was it was weird, and I went in a weird order of eating everything, but I left the chicken parmesan last, and that was the thing that was getting hard to finish up. I was down to 2 bites left, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I got 2 bites left. I'm like, I got to do it. You got to finish 2 bites. So, but yeah, it was really great food, and they and maybe Dana and Jeff, I know that's watching too. And Jeff's talking about the group that actually does host a lot of the things PSE, or excuse me, PSEI. That's what I did was going to get into, because I know they basically are kind of the ones that if they're going to do anything, it's usually through them. Togs was just fortunate enough to where they were able to kind of get in and be able to do that. So Matt, I'm telling you that and it's definitely, what's neat is the sauce. It's definitely not no jar of sauce type of thing, buddy. I mean, just to help make it water even more. It's a thicker sauce, and like I said, the flavoring is spot on and stuff. So, it's like I said, it's not no jar of sauce you're getting off a shelf. I'll tell you that right now. It's not no runny stuff. Just to really help paint that picture for everybody. It really was fantastic, and like I said, like anything, you really want that to kind of pop through and stuff like that. But oh, nice, Jeff, you get the trio stuff too. And it's true, and Dana's right. If you don't get the pasta or salads, and they have like some sandwich things, and some of the appetizers, they actually had it where you can like put if you didn't want like a main meal, you can actually they had a thing special or whatever going on that you can take like some of the appetizers, and you can put like 2 or 3 things together to make it a meal. You know what I mean? And so they had great appetizers, but I still wanted to think that they simplified, maybe because of the pandemic, but it didn't seem like the menu was it was literally just one sheet that they gave you. So I'm like, I swore there was a few more things that they had before, and maybe I'm wrong, but it just seemed like it was a lot smaller than the last time. But I haven't been there, probably 5 years or so, but it's been that long. But anyway, like I said, it was great, but it was cool to be able to kind of do a little bit of everything. I mean, like I said, had some good food, and then a little communication, little ghost hunting thing, but that was cool. So yeah. And Jennifer, haven't been there in a while. Maybe I'll go back for it. Yeah, definitely. It was great. Like I said, they I met, it's been a while, like I said, and it was just neat to finally get back and hang out, and I'll definitely go back again for sure. Heck yeah. So I kind of raced through a little bit, but And that, well, I guess we can kind of tie it out might as well go 10 more minutes. Why not? It's only 10:20. That's what I was thinking. I mean, you kind of have to. I mean, it makes it easier when you don't have to have a lot of food wasted, because if some people aren't going to eat certain things so much, you kind of simplify it. And I think that's, it's a great idea. I mean, plus it's probably better for the cooks because they have so many things they got to cook from. So, um, but but I think that's neat. I think a lot of people don't realize it or don't get the opportunities to go. Like, obviously you go to like some of these downtown areas, or even just older towns that have been around a long time. Obviously if you go on the East Coast, you get a lot of the early settlers and things like that, especially once the cities were becoming established and things. And so you find some of these old buildings that just have so much history in it, and some of them that have turned those buildings into restaurants and things is really cool. You really get an opportunity to, kind of go in there, whether if it's, spooky or not. It's still neat just to experience, the whole atmosphere, and even then to know how long those buildings have been opened and the energy that they hold and have seen throughout the centuries and things, decades really. But it's so cool to get into these things. Like I said, most of us that do the paranormal stuff, love history. We love the locations we go to, and you sit there, and even if it's not like something specific, like, so, getting the opportunity to go on some of the Navy ships and things. And you might not be a military person, you might not agree with that stuff, but you still can't help but be on one of those ships, and sit there and put yourself in a sailor's shoes, and try to, you know, understand what it might have been like for them. And it's to just know, what was, to know a little bit, but to just sit there and see what would you be doing in the situation if you were walking down these hallways and corridors and climbing ladders and things like that. And so the it's and it goes with all the buildings too. Okay, so yeah, so Jeff's telling the warehouse was right in the middle of the Tenderloin district back in the early 1900s. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, because I didn't remember all the years and dates and stuff, uh, but it's just, like I said, it's neat to get to go there, even if there is no activity or things like that. Again, we you know we should always be supporting our history, and knowing that what these locations, these buildings, these um, you know even some of the artifacts and stuff that it still are preserved and things. It's just so cool to kind of look back and realize, the all the years and things that have gone by. And so I just love that about history, is just being able to look back, whether, it was a good situation or, a bad situation. I mean, it's still, it's history, I mean, you can't take it away, but again, you can just look at it and think, how things have changed since then, and so, but yeah, being able to get into some of these buildings and stuff and just it, soak it all in, like I said, even sitting there, I'm looking down at the floors, and you can just see, how it's been there for so long. You can see all the past that have kind of worn into the wood floor and things. Oh, Jill, you got to go to the Edson. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Jill, I mean, I didn't get to go there last year. I mean, because of pandemic and stuff, but by up until 2020, since they started doing investigations there, I was there every year at least once, if not twice. So I had a great time. I missed the Edson and was just posting things. I was tagged on some stuff that happened a couple years ago in 18, or was it 19? I can't remember now, but me and Tim Shaw, you can see a photo of us. If you, I guess you'd have to go to my main page to find the tag, but me and Tim Shaw were sitting there doing a Ouija board session. And that was where I joked on the one post, because it was Joe from MPI, Joe Gifford, that put it on there. She, it was a great night. And I said, oh my gosh, it was. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, there were so many cool things that happened, but being able to learn how to use the Ouija board from Tim was like probably the highlight. I mean, granted, there were some other crazy moments that happened that night. But just being able to know how to use the Ouija board the correct way, and how to open it properly, how to close it properly, and so it was really neat to kind of get into it. And then I've since then, granted, I don't use it all the time, but even there was another, I think it was that same year that Bill, who's one of the volunteers and a veteran, Navy veteran himself, let me use the exact same board that we used for another session when we were on the ship. I think it was that year. I went back a second or third time and had some great stuff happen. Holy smokes. But yeah, being able to know what you're doing and things is key to using that stuff. But, it's just another device to use communication, just like for me sitting in the spaghetti warehouse and, chatting with a spirit that's there. It's just I'm using myself instead of a board. You know what I mean? And so, but we won't go in deep in that, but just know that the board, I ask for specifics, just like what Tim taught me. It's like you're asking for specifics. You're not asking for other stuff to come through. You're only saying, hey, this is it. This is all that's going to happen. So, oh yes, Jill. Ann, oh my gosh, Ann is amazing. She is amazing. Yep, Dad's talking about the Twilight episode. Yep, 40 Fathoms Under the Sea or something like that. But yeah, Ann's great. Ann's a great friend of mine. We chat and so she was even posting on some of the comments yesterday. And right, Jill, Bill is awesome. Bill's the man. I mean, he really is. You really want to learn some things, or you want to, have Bill take you around on a little private tour of the Edson. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. Because that's the thing is he's going to hit you with so many cool things and take you to some areas, and it just blows your mind half the time. So, no, geez, Jeff, I thought you need black candles and skulls with Ouija boards. Maybe that's why Dana won't let me touch them. Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, but yeah, so that's cool. But yeah, one of the jokes I put on there was that because that was the first time I ever really sat down with somebody and used the Ouija board, and again, it couldn't have happened with anybody better than Tim. And it was funny because I just said, hey Tim, you were my first, and then I put a period, and then I put using the Ouija board and stuff, and Tim's wife Nancy came back and she was laughing hysterically and stuff. So but it's true. But but that was fun. I mean, like I said, that was great. I mean, in fact, Jill, Ann, and I, that we saw a shadow figure, literally walking down, darting into the hall, and then I don't remember how much longer after that, but then we were in what's called the 9/11 room, and Tim was standing in one spot and he was looking down one corridor, and he literally watched a full figured shadow person, walking and ducking, and to hear Tim yell out some expletives and then go barreling after it. And you got to remember, a Navy ship, they have compartments, so you have to pick your feet up whenever you're going to change into a new compartment. And so we don't know how he barreled through and got through those, those doors and stuff. Cause I mean, because they call them knee knockers for a reason. But oh my gosh, I mean, he saw it and it blew his mind. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a great night. I mean, just so many cool things. But Dana, there you go. See, there's another great joke. Dana's only gonna let Jeff play with the Ouija's as long as it's with me. So. Margaret, totally valid. Yep. There's definitely a lot of people that should never touch an Ouija board or any form of spirit type of communication device. That's just a given, it really needs to be in the people that really know what they're doing. And so it's so key because like I said, you can really mess things up if you just think you can just fool around, Oh, that's cool, Jill. Yeah. Or Jill, yeah, Jill, I think I said. Yeah, that's really neat. One on the bridge. Yeah. Uh-huh. Very, very interesting stuff. So all righty. We made it to 10:30. Woohoo. So I am gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my weekend. I'm gonna relax. Definitely get a nap in because I don't get naps anymore. So we'll find a nap at some point this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to that already. and then I got to work on a couple other little things. And yeah, so it's been awesome. I can't thank you guys all enough for hanging out, and yeah, it was great. Hopefully we'll continue on. We'll keep doing things and sharing whatever's coming up. And like I said, if you guys ever have any, if there anything, you know, on your minds or any questions, maybe saw something on TV or heard somebody talking about it, you guys can always message me on one of these, either on the shows or on one of my posts, or even direct message me, and I'll definitely throw it in there. We can talk about it. Even if I don't know it, we'll still talk about it, and that's the whole point. And yeah, so hopefully that we'll have some more fun, and hopefully we'll all have a better week. We won't have any weird things. We'll just kind of be calm and relaxed. And so I will do that, Dad. I will do that. And that'll be great. So alrighty, yes, Matt, have a great weekend. Dana, Nicole, Margaret, yes, have a fantastic rest of your weekend, gang. You guys have been watching Mid-Morning Medium Chat with Adam with Black Swamp Medium. Thank you so much again. I will see you very, very soon. And with that said, all my love, light, and peace to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.